Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Mystics Outlook. Joined, as always, by Raymond Lyons, Carlo Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpe Jr. And look, this is the second part of the Aces and Mystics clash of heads in the last couple of days. Things started differently, kind of still ended the same. Some similarities in this game, regardless of how the things began. But the Aces uses a strong second half once again to beat the Mystics 93-83. Just finish up with post game. I'll just share a couple thoughts for getting to what you guys think of tonight's game. Um, Coach was just talking about it. Essentially, the team has to do better with dealing with adjustments. Vegas kind of did the same thing they did last time. Played 10 on 1 in the first half, and the second sent help, got the ball out of our hands. Felt the team could have been a little bit more patient. You saw them calling a lot of pick and rolls with Atkins and Charles, been a little bit more patient, working Vegas' defense to get better shots. Felt like the offense just wasn't good at times. Obviously, they didn't shoot the ball well in the first half. But one of the things they helped in the first half was they didn't turn the ball over. Then Tina she was just talking about the team. They're just not disciplined enough. And that comes as no shock. We sat here talking about how it's now a tendency to give up leads. And this is back-to-back games, you give up leads. And, yeah, Vegas is a good team. That said, it was a massive lead Sunday. You worked your way back to get a double-digit lead in this one. At one point, you still had a solid lead at the half after a big second quarter from Tina, but the start of the third quarter, Vegas goes nuts, and then the fourth again, we saw them take over the game, and this time it was in a different way. This time Kelsey Plum went nuts. She had 24 off the bench for them and gave them exactly what they needed down the stretch. But Cardell, we'll start with you with your thoughts on this one, then we get to Ray.
I just think defensively, man, like what Tina said, the discipline is just not there, and it's little things like it's not it's not overbearing or like bad. It's just their defensive sets it breaks down at the wrong time, like in the fourth quarter. And I'm not picking on her, but I'm just giving you an example. When Sydney Weeks got beat back door. Then she came down, turned the ball over. Those are deflating plays when you're trying to come back and hold off this team that has a lot of firepower. You know what I mean? And they're loaded inside off that. And then defensively, you know, the Mystics, it's like they did a good job overall, with Asia and Cambage. They contained them. You know what I'm saying? That's all you can hope for with those caliber players. But then Kelsey Plum is the difference in this game. The first game was Jackie. Now Kelsey Plum, she come off the bench and had 21 in the second half, 24 for the game. You see what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna win a lot of games with that with those defensive breakdowns, man. Where it's you gotta be consistent. They don't have the depth to not bring it on that end for a full game, man. You can't have three good quarters and a bad quarter, and a good half and a bad second half or first half, whatever. You can't do that. They have to. This Mystics team needs to understand this is not 2019. That's way back in the past. They got to bring it the entire game defensively. They have to lead with that. When they lead with that, they're a different team. They win, and it feeds their offense. And what I mean by lack of depth, it's not just defensively, offensively. Like, let's be real. The only two players you can kind of count on to get a bucket is Tina Hurd. You know what I mean? Who else you gonna really count on consistently to deliver? And that when you need something, we need a bucket. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my take from it. Like, Raccoon Williams, she started off the game with 10 points in the first quarter. That set the tone right there. And the Mystics adjusted. They held her to 10 for the rest of the game, which is great. But that set the tone and to open things up where the Mystics are scrambling defensively, trying to stop, having to adjust to stop her. You know what I'm saying? Now they got to play Cambage and Asia honest. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like, we keep an eye on her, but we going to deal with these bigs. We going to dig down on her. And now you're scared to dig down because she's hitting shots. And then second quarter, they did well. They fought with 6 turnovers in the second quarter. And, from the Aces, that's Washington turning it up defensively. and it allowed them to take the lead. And that's when Tina went off, man. She had 17 of her 23 first half points in the second period. 3 triples. They had a 49-41 lead. She was like, okay, the Mystics are cooking. But then the third quarter come and it's just a repeat of what we saw from Sunday, man. And it was sparked by Kelsey Plum. Once she started hitting shots from the outside, it opened the floodgates. And then you got the bigs down there starting to get going, Asia, and they got their hands full. I feel like Asia did a great job, not just scoring the ball, but she did a great job on shutting down Aisha Hines-Allen. You know what I mean? 6 points in this game. Where in the first game, she on Sunday, Aisha Hines-Allen did her thing. It was a similar outcome and similar feel throughout the game, up and down vibe. It was just different players fulfilling different roles, and that's what we saw, man. And yeah, I like what Ariel said. Post game, she said this ain't on the coaches, this is on us. Like, she's not giving them a pass, including herself, man. And what really hurt was when Kelsey Plum hit the jumper, man, and they ran the same exact play that Chelsea ran to win the game, man, on Sunday, dog. It's just, look, I know Tina said they gotta be more disciplined, but it's her too. You gotta hedge out. You gotta hedge out. You gotta take away their airspace. You know what I'm saying? And trust that your teammates will be behind you. And that goes back to what we're saying about the men's side during the season. It's not a lot of trust that the players behind me will be where they need to be if I get beat. So she's just trying to play an honest thing, but you got to know who you're dealing with, man. Kelsey and Chelsea, those type of guards, you got to take away their airspace and just hope for the best, man. You got to, like my coach would say, do your job. And you know what I'm saying? Then that we can get on to other people for not doing their job. But if you don't do your job, you kind of take away the ability for other people to do theirs, you know what I mean? And so Lambert didn't really do much. He just duplicated what he did on Sunday, man. And when it got late, they, like you said, they double Tina and they attacked Tina. They know she's the head of the snake, so to speak. So that's old school basketball. We're going to attack you on both ends, wear you down to where you can't finish offensively, and we're going to attack you defensively. And that's what it came down to, man. And with Kelsey gotten going, and then the bigs starting to get going, it was just too much, man. So it is what it is now. They out of the playoffs race as far as standings currently. It's going to be a tough road, man. A real tough road.
Yeah, I think the lack of depth is killing them. To be honest, the Mystics had 2 players scoring in double figures. The Aces, they had 5, and then Hamby was right there with 8. And then Tina and Ariel, they carried the load scoring wise, but then they also got to work super hard on defense as well. Like you saw, I think it was the third quarter. It was after like a series of up and down plays. Ariel's waving to the bench like she needs to blow, and I mean, because she's got to go full force on both ends every play for them to have a chance. So I mean, I know it's nothing they can do about that in the moment, but it is wearing on, and I think that's where some of the lapses come from. That their legs are gone, they're tired. When you're tired, you can't think. You're not as sharp as you normally are, and it's taking its toll, man. They started the game. Defensive intensity was high. They didn't come out on fire like they did on Sunday, but the fact they were strapping up, turning them over, it kept them in the game. And then they eventually took the lead in the second quarter. They outscored them by 10, took a 8-point lead in the halftime. But again, Aces came out in the third quarter. They just started a little earlier this game. What they did in the fourth quarter to take over, they did that in the third quarter of this game. I mean, they just attacked them inside. Kelsey Plum started going crazy, and Missy just didn't have any answers. And it's tough, man, because they fought and they battled, but they just didn't have enough. They're in a tough spot right now, man, and they can't. I know it's not their attitude, but you can't just count on people coming back to save you, because it's a possibility that those people won't come back. So you got to just go to war with what you got, man. And I know they're fighting as hard as they can, but it's just it's just tough right now because I know this isn't the team they expected to come to the season with, and that's a hurdle to get over mentally from the break. You know, they got Alicia Clark, then she went down, she was out for the season. We all know the situation with Elena, and then on top of that, the injuries they dealt with up to this point. You know, so they've been going through it, man, and Coach T, he said this was the most challenging year he's had so far, and uh, I don't think that's an exaggeration because it's a lot to deal with. But you know, he's professional. They're all professionals, and I know they're going back to the drawing board and trying to get themselves a chance every game. But they got to start getting some wins. You know, this thing could be out of reach real quick. But they got what they got next? Phoenix, and then Seattle. Two more tough games. So it's not getting any easier, man. So and then you know, I guess the good thing, but also the frustrating thing about it is they're not far off. You know, they're like right there. It's just a couple of things they need to clean up. And you know, they could be coming out of Vegas with 2 wins, you know, just with a couple of small adjustments and a little more discipline. So I mean, if there's some light at the end of the tunnel, is that you know they're not it's not like it's hopeless, but you know it's still a lot they need to do to you know to kind of turn this thing around. Can they do it? That remains to be seen. But we know the type of fight they have. We know the type of team they are. They just got to find a way to put it all together.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what you guys said, like that's pretty much everything you guys were saying is what Tina and Ariel were echoing. Talking to the media tonight, both of them seem kind of defiant and kind of resolute in this fact that they're not focused on, you know, some people, the narrative. Some people have kind of like, you know, if a couple people come back, everything's going to be great and everything will be fine. And, you know, both of them are kind of like, it has nothing to do with this right now. You know, who's here right now, it is what it is. That said, you know, again, they have to hold themselves accountable and they have to get it done. Like nothing matters. Both of them echoed that except Phoenix. You know, they have to salvage something out of this road trip. And Phoenix being close to them in the standings, yeah, you can't go 0-3 on this road trip. It's going to make something that's an already difficult task even more difficult. And then you start running out of games. And one of the things Atkins said, I don't have it verbatim. I'm sure we'll have it up tomorrow, some point on the site. She was just saying she doesn't want to sit around at the end of the season waiting for somebody else maybe to lose or something so they can get in and make the playoffs, or wait around at the end of the season and you don't get in. You know, so there's, like you guys said, they haven't let go of the rope yet. It's just, you know, it's tough again. Think back to Sunday, a double-digit lead, man. You're supposed to finish that one out.
Yeah, 21.
You know, like even if you don't like, I would have been shocked if you go to Vegas and beat Vegas twice in Vegas. Currently, it's this iteration of this team. That said, you look at Sunday and the opportunity you had hurts even more. Like we all said Sunday night, we knew Vegas wasn't going to get off to another slow start tonight, and they didn't. I mean, it was obviously nobody had the type of offensive night they had on Sunday, outside of, you know, Kelsey and Asia, but you know it was a drag out game for most of the first half. You know, and again, like you guys said, when you don't have that depth or whatnot, it's even more imperative when you get up on teams, you got to get it done. I think something else was said was, Tina was saying probably one of the things going around the league, she's not saying this is exactly what's going on, but talking about them losing leads, like teams know if you fall behind Washington, you can get them back. Like you can get back into the game, and barely that's something that's been happening.
But I feel like that comes back to mental toughness. You know,
Yep.
I mean, with all due respect, I had a month off. You know,
Yep.
I get why Ariel's tired and Tina's tired. You know, they were swooping at a high level trying to win a gold medal. I get it. I mean, I don't understand why the rest of the team not leaving it all out there defensively. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my thing is if I'm off, you off too, though. We just ain't scoring. We just gonna be here just scoreless. Like it gotta be like that. Like, It's spiteful thinking, but I don't care. You know, look, I'm gonna contribute to help us win, and that's what you have to do. I feel like some of the players on the Mystics are soft inside. I felt like mentally they were beat from the open tip. You know, once you get past Maisha and Tina inside, I feel like they're beat. When the reserves come in, I feel like they can't match up, and it's like, then it comes down to heart and will. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna fight you. You know, I'm gonna give you everything I got. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like you get the vibe sometimes when the reserves come in that they just will. And you know, we not used to seeing the Mystics team do that, especially not from 2019, because the reserves came in a lot of times and will win the game. You know what I mean? And that's the standard, such a high standard that they set. And we knew that was a special team, but that's long gone. Even last year they competed hard, you know, with all the injuries and stuff in the bubble. You know what I mean? You don't get that same vibe that they compete at that level as consistent as they did last year. And they were kind of in the same position with all the injuries and whatnot. And Tina wasn't even there. You know what I'm saying? It was more the Ariels carrying the load with Maisha. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, in a sense, some of these players need to look in the mirror and just warming up. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to win or don't you? You know what I'm saying? They need help. You know, like there's a starting core. And then Cloud and Atkins and Tina and you know, I put Maisha in there. She had a bad game for her standards too, but you know, they need help. You know what I'm saying? And you had a month off. There's no reason to be tired though. You should be like, this is what you just kind of looking for. So all right, we're gonna get healthy and we're gonna get going and we're gonna make this run. So yeah, they got to clean it up ASAP because they're not gonna have much room, man. Like if you lose the next two games, gonna be mean. You know what I'm saying? Phoenix and Seattle. You lose those two games. I'm looking at the standings now, man, and they're 400. You know, all right, so they're ninth in the league out of 12. Man, you lose those games, you could easily drop to below the dream if they're winning. You see what I'm saying? Or tied with the dream, you could easily fall to like 10th or the 11th. And then it's a hard road to come up and to try to fight back and try to make the playoffs, man. It's gonna be a hard road, man. And then at that point, like I said before in the last show, you got to ask yourself, even if Delanana want to come back, is it worth it? Or should we just give them the extra time to fully heal and get ready for next season? Or if they choosing to go overseas or whatever, you know, their plans are. You know, so yeah, they got to figure this out because these were two winnable games. It was one thing. It's one thing if they came out just smacked them from the get-go. Like, dang, they just can't match up with them. You know, that's one thing. But they two winnable games. That's what makes it hard to to take in. And I know they feeling even worse than we are, obviously.
Just, you know, they got a day. Tomorrow's a travel day. And then, 10 p.m. start time on the East Coast against Phoenix on Thursday. So see you guys about to take time.
We can't beat these late games, though. Some of them.
And then to offset it, the home game, I think is at like 2 o'clock on Sunday after going from 10 p.m. So gotta love sports. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you very soon.